This on. What's going on, Park?
You ready?
Yep, let's do it. Feels good to be home.
Good afternoon. It's great to be here. Pleasure to be here. And here for a very special reason, obviously. That means a lot to this city and means a lot to this school. You know, when I talk about a guy like Caron Butler, I could talk about, probably give you a number of reasons why we're so excited to have him join our team and our organization. I could talk about the fact that he was the 10th pick of the NBA draft. I could talk about the fact that in his first year in the NBA, he made first team All-NBA rookie team. He's a two-time NBA All-Star. He's a part of an NBA championship team with the Dallas Mavericks in 2011. The list could go on and on, speaking about Caron as the player that he is and why we're excited to have him. But, you know, I got to tell you, probably as important or maybe more important to us, we're really excited to have Caron here because what he stands for as a person. I've watched Caron since he played in college, watched him in the NBA, and we've competed against him, and I've always admired him for the way he handled himself on the court, places he's been, the way people have talked about him, the way he's represented himself, represented his family, represented the city, represented the school. Caron's a pro, and we're so excited to have someone like this in our organization. We talked a couple weeks ago, we had a press conference when we made a trade, and we talked about trying to build a championship caliber team. And we're really excited about some of the young pieces we have on our roster. And we're not going to stray from that. We also, that time, we talked about needing veteran players that can help us in that process. A veteran player that can mentor, a veteran player that can help lead the young guys, and we know Caron can do that. But make no mistake, he's here for a lot more than just that. We need him on the floor. We project him to be our starting small forward. We project him to play a lot of minutes for our team. We project him to help us win games. So I probably said a little bit too much, but I just wanted to let you know how excited we are to have Caron Butler as a part of our organization. Coach Drew.
First of all, I'd just like to say good afternoon, everybody. You know, as a coach, you know, one of the things you try to do is you try to assemble the best possible team that you possibly can. You know, through this process for me, you know, and coming to Milwaukee, this being my first year here as a Bucks new head coach, you know, one of the things that I wanted to do, you know, in sitting down with John and sitting down with the senator, is I want to give us the best possible chance to win. And the way to do that is you have to assemble, you know, a team of players that you feel will be, you know, a good fit. You talk about a nucleus, you talk about chemistry, you know, you hear all the words. And as we went through this entire process, you know, one of the positions that me as a coach, in talking, you know, with John and talking with the Senator, I felt we really had to really be solid and really solidify ourselves with, and that was a small forward position. And when we first started discussing the possibilities of this trade taking place, I really got excited for a number of reasons. First of all, when you talk about putting a team together, you've got to have guys who are committed for the right thing. And in all the people that I have spoken to about Caron, I knew Caron as a player. I know in preparing for him and trying to defend him, I knew he gave us fits. But I'm just talking about the person on the floor, the person in the locker room, the person amongst the teammates. And I got nothing but raving reviews about. And when I saw this opportunity, I told John, I said, look, we've got to do everything we can to make this thing happen, because I really feel he had done a really good job up until that point as far as putting this team together. I would say we've done a great job now in solidifying that small forward position and getting a guy with this guy's ability, you know, what he brings to the table. I know for our young guys, as John has already mentioned, he's just been a phenomenal guy in the locker room, and I know our guys are going to reap great benefits from having this guy around. But, you know, as a coach, I'm really excited about what he brings, you know, just brings to our team, you know, as not just a talent, but the person. And as we move forward, we're about 4 weeks away from training camp. I know the rest of our guys are going to be really excited having this guy right next to him. So without further ado, I just want to just say, Caron, welcome to Milwaukee, my friend. And we're really excited having you here. And I know the hometown people are just excited about having you back. All right?
Hey, do me a favor. Make some noise. Make some noise for Herb Cole for making this thing happen. He over here. There you go, right there. I'm sorry. Make some noise again for Herb Cole right there. Y'all may be a little bit too young to know this, but I remember shopping at his grocery stores when I was a kid. So to be playing for your wonderful organization right now, that's great. So thank you for bringing me home. And, John Hammond and, Coach Drew, I really appreciate this opportunity to, be on this platform and perform at a high level, and I'm not going to let you guys down. I'd like to thank the city of, Racine and Milwaukee and the state of Wisconsin for supporting me all these years. Yep, give yourself a round of applause. I'd like to thank the Phoenix Suns organization for, the way they handled this whole process. Very, very classy organization. Sat down, met with them, one-on-one, and, I felt like the best situation for me was to be with a contending team. And they went about this whole process. They handled me like a human being and as a professional. And, I just tip my hat off to them for, being real, professional about this whole situation and this transaction for me and my family. So thank them, too, as well. Appreciate it. And, definitely with my wife and my family in general. Being moved around. Being moved around, a couple times in this off season, it's been hard on the family, but, just to, be back home, that's extremely important. So I'm extremely happy about this whole process. And, I can't wait for the season to start. And, on that note, just going to open it up for questions. I'm a little emotional, definitely. I always am. Y'all see me crying at press conferences and all them things all the time, draft night, so on. But, it's a different emotion now because, this is a dream come true. This is something that I always dreamed about and, thought about. And I never thought it'd happen, so it's special. So thank you.
Christian Miller, Park Beacon. Caron, how does it feel to be back at Park to announce you coming back to your home state?
Oh, it's special. I wouldn't have it no other place. Besides at one of the community centers, me and Jamil talked about it. It had to be at my own stomping grounds. At one of the community centers, either Bryant Center or the Bray Center or definitely Park High School. Or we wasn't doing it on the corner of 18th Street and Meade. So it was going to happen.
Caron, these kids listening to you today, what's your advice to them as far as your journey on the court and off that has brought you here?
What I would say to all of you out there, and even my children, seeing is believing. I've been through a lot of adversity throughout my life. I've been a kid and a young man that always been told what I couldn't accomplish or what I couldn't do. And, to be in this position and be doing this at a high level for over these years, it's extremely special. So, like this, once again, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to prove the doubters wrong, and we're going to make it happen. We're going to make history again.
Caron, obviously this means the world to you. I mean, you had Caron Butler Day here, 5 years ago. Obviously, growing up here, stuff like that. But when you put that Bucks uniform on, is this almost like a rejuvenation of your career, or what is that going to mean to see those letters on the front of your jersey?
It's going to be special. I can't even put it in words on what it's going to feel like because I just don't know what it's going to feel like yet, but it's going to be extremely special. A team that I grew up watching, the teams that I grew up watching was, Sidney Moncrief and those guys, many years ago, and, watching on TMJ4 and WGN as they battled the Chicago Bulls in those rivalries. And, now to be in that conference and to be out there, on that floor, wearing the Bucks uniform and, having, Racine, Milwaukee stand up proud and loud and represent, that's going to be extremely special. And I'm going to put on for the city.
Do you have a lot of memories from your high school days just sitting here and flashing back to some of your special moments?
Yeah, when I walked in, just seeing the, the cheerleaders and the park colors. And, as I sat down, I was just thinking about times when I dropped 30 and 40 on cats. So, it was just funny. And I'm still thinking about it, catching lobs on this rim and running in the crowd and celebrating. And it was crazy. But, it was some fun memories. And hopefully you can bring that same energy and excitement to the new team.
Steve Ashburner, NBA.com. You've had a lot of twists and turns in your career. You've played many places. To your best of your knowledge, did you ever come close to coming back home like this? And did you ever start to wonder whether it would happen?
I always wonder whether this will ever happen. And I was a free agent 2 seasons ago in that summer. And Milwaukee was definitely a team that I was willing and wanted to play for. Chicago was one of them as well, due to being close to my family and loved ones. And a lot of people already had me penciled in as playing with one of those teams already. But, I went all the way to another coast and, came back home eventually. So it's great. It worked out. It worked out great for me. Abdul Jelani, hold on one second, Gary. Abdul Jelani is in the building. Somebody that I admired and grew up watching, one of the first pros to ever make it out of here and lay the platform.
There he is, man. How about that?
He's in the house.
Wow.
Also a Park alumni.
Wow.
Oh, my family right here? Yeah, Mr. Cole said I got to introduce my family, so I got to do it. So I'm going to start from left to right. This is my wife right here, Andrea. This is my daughter, Camry. This is my mother who brought me into the world, Maddie. This is my brother, Melvin. This is my big cousin, Jarbo. Y'all see him around all the time. My Uncle Richard. My cousin Kim in Champaign. That's my grandma right there, the patriarch of the family and the matriarch. That's Big Pops right there, my grandfather, Art. My auntie, my TT Tina, that's where I get all my post moves from. I got my auntie Kathy. I know my auntie Amy is in here too. My auntie Amy and my auntie Sean. my Uncle Carlos, who introduced me to the game of basketball. And my cousin Gizzy over there. It's a lot more, but we didn't know if you guys had enough space, so we kept it to a minimum. So it feels good to be performing in front of them on a night-to-night basis. That's going to be special.
Are you done?
That's my little cousin up top.
I didn't think so. Say, Caron, you saw the Milwaukee Bucks, obviously, over the last couple of years, and you have a perspective on them. What do you think you can bring this team from your standpoint?
Just besides leadership, on and off the court and, experience, definitely going to bring a different type of toughness, and just, everything that I've been doing over the course of the years, I'm going to bring to this ball club. This will be going into my 13th season, and, everywhere I've been, I had some type of success, whether it was in Washington, or Dallas or in Los Angeles, both times, had a lot of success and, looking forward to, continuing that. It's all about, legacy and leaving your stamp on the game the right way, and this is a great way to do it, and it's a great situation. And I feel like I can prosper in this situation and in my role, so I'm looking forward to it.
Caron, you've touched on this a little bit, but I'm curious, what do you feel is the key thread for you in terms of where you started and where you're at? And maybe the lesson in your story for somebody who might not have the same skill set but wants to sort of travel that path?
Honestly, from a basketball standpoint, I feel like basketball is a huge reflection of life. And the reason why I was successful, I would have to say, is just because I always wanted to prove other people wrong. Everybody, put this, stigma on you like, you're not going to make it. You can't do it because, or you can't do it because of this. And I just wanted to always go out there and prove doubters wrong and be a good example for, the kids that watch me, my children, children in my family, because the examples that I had and the role models that I had was different people. It was people that was running the streets doing different things. And, it's real rewarding and it's real, self-gratifying to see people say, I look up to you. Because you did that, I feel like I can do this, in whatever field that I walk in life. You know what I'm saying? So that's special to me and that means a lot. And I'm going to continue to break down walls and barriers.
Do you feel like you came close to not getting on the good path, the right path?
Yeah, I was close many times, but I had a strong mindset, and I'm part of that failure, not an option society, and I couldn't look those people in the face and be a failure. So I wasn't gonna let that happen again. It was hard enough doing it once, but to do it again would just be my total demise. So I just, kept striving and kept moving forward and made something of myself. And I say I did a good job.
Coach Drew, Larry Drew.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, your thoughts on Caron and how he fits into the Bucks puzzle.
Well, I think, if you look over, his career, certainly he's had a really, really good career. I think he has certainly solidified his name in our league over the last 10 years as one of the best small forwards that has played the game. He's very effective on the floor. The thing that really intrigues me about him, is just the tough mindset that he brings. He's a competitor, and you hope that those type tangibles will rub off on other players. We started this summer, in putting this team together and putting together, certainly we're looking for talented guys, but it's not always about just the talent. You've got to have guys who bring a level of toughness, and the guys who have been through the wars and guys who've been in been down in the trenches, and certainly over Caron's over the years he's played, he's been in a lot of different situations. He's won championships, so he's experienced it all, And what better way to come in as a first year coach for a new team than to bring a guy who has championship experience? That's pretty amazing, So we're really excited about how this whole thing has transpired, and I'm looking forward to working with him and getting this Bucks organization, getting this team on the right path.
Hey, let me just sum it up if I can. And when I was walking in, got out of the car, our team photographer, Gary Deneen, who has been doing this, I think he said since like 1985 with the Milwaukee Bucks, and he's been a team photographer with the NBA, I think he said maybe 1996. I said, Gary, you ever been to Racine? He said, John, I come here almost every summer. And he said, do you know what Caron Butler does for this community? What he does for the city of Racine? He says he does so much. He said, I come down here and take pictures for the NBA. But I thought the best thing he said, you know what? I deal with a lot of guys in the NBA. I think he's the nicest guy I know in the NBA. To me, that sums up her day.
Hey, one more thing. I just want to give a round of applause to my mentor that's been in my corner for years, Mr. Jamil Aguari. Make some noise for him. Thanks, Mel. Racine, stand up.
Park High School, one more big round of applause for Caron Butler. What I need you guys to do, I need all the link leaders to come down. All the link leaders, come down. Make a single file along this line. Single file. Freshmen, we are going to exit out the field house doors. Link leaders, help them out. Exiting that way.